Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 80 of SnarkAlec Radio. That's an insane high number, and I just want you guys to know that even though we can't see you right now, I can hear you in my head, just as if you were a cat. Joining me, as always, is Tony Solo. Tony, say hi to everyone.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tony Solo on Twitter.
That was another assistant reference. You guys didn't get that?
I got it.
Or maybe it wasn't. Also,
You should see Kelly do his, because I'm going to introduce Kelly next, but he wanted quickly, and I'm not sure if you can do it with your iPad, but didn't you want to do the evil Statue of Liberty?
No, I did not. But I will say hello to everybody. It's Kelly Tool at KELLYTHUL on Twitter, and I'm delighted to be here in a kind of unique technology situation.
And we have a special guest with us tonight, a friend of Kelly's, Jay.
Hey guys, I appreciate the warm welcome. I don't know that I'm a special friend of anybody.
Even your friends are in the same room as you right now are denying their friendship.
I can neither deny nor confirm that we're in the same room, quote unquote.
There's nobody here behind me.
There's nobody there behind you. No, absolutely nobody there. But on the other side of your iPad, there's possibly somebody there, right?
So wait, if we do see someone pop up behind you.
Nope, see, I just turned the iPad. Nope, nobody there.
Can neither confirm nor deny any of that.
Oh boy. So it sounds like these two guys work for a presidential administration, and you can just insert the president's name here. You know.
We're in a state of denial.
So, if people haven't guessed, Kelly and Jay are both coming to us from a non-disclosed location, and they will not confirm nor deny whether they are in the same room.
Correct.
Now, has anyone explained to Jay the 5-minute rule?
I did.
Oh, okay. See, you just stole all my fun.
Well, go ahead and explain it.
No, you did it off camera where it doesn't count. That's fine.
I'm not so sure I know about
I guess we'll just get started with the news then, Tony.
Hey, I may have forgotten the 5-minute rule, so re-enlighten me. I think Kelly may be.
There's some younger viewers of this show. So in the first 5 minutes, and I'm only saying this for explanation purposes, you can't say the word fuck for 5 minutes.
Okay.
Oh, we passed 5 minutes?
No,
I'm just telling you can't say fuck for the first 5 minutes of the show. Don't say fuck. No matter how bad you want to say fuck, don't say it. For 5 minutes.
And then there's also the Vicky Adesso rule. I don't know if anybody told you about that one, but we try and say Vicky Adesso as many times as we can during the show. And sometimes we like to say Holly Wilson, too. But we really like to say Vicky Adesso because that name just kind of flows.
Sounds very much like a setup. I'm just saying.
No setup.
If I was in the same room as Kelly right now, I would assume I was being set up as well.
Yeah, and if he tells you to call him Vicky, just leave.
So I've enjoyed this, everyone. I think I'm going to leave.
So anyway, let's get on with the news, shall we? So, birthdays. Hey, we have one birthday. It is Jason Stringer. He is a listener from Facebook, and he's got some pretty awesome tattoos, and the next time I see him, I won't be afraid to ask him to show me the one on his left arm. This Saturday, Chernobyl Diaries is on Sci-Fi, so don't forget to tune into that. If you're listening on Loud and Loaded, though, you will It was yesterday. So, but the following week is a movie called The Revenant on September 27th. The Revenant, starting at 9 o'clock, ends at 11:30. It's not a sci-fi original, but I think it might be a sci-fi premiere.
Isn't that about like a possessed piece of discarded carpet?
No, that would be The Remnant.
Oh,
And
gotcha.
and no, this is about like a guy who's a soldier and comes back as a zombie and goes after drug dealers. It's supposed to be a horror slash comedy, is how it's billed on IMDb. So
Like Silence of the Lambs.
yeah, those poor lambs. That's why that movie almost made Mike change his name to Clarice, and he didn't.
Yeah, I'm a Buffalo Bill fan all the way. Almost
no
Nightly,
surprise.
Goodbye Horses is played here.
Okay, on Saturday night, at the same time as Chernobyl Diaries, if you don't want to watch that, you can watch Dylan Knows. Dylan Knows is going to be on Saturday this week at 9 o'clock ish. He's going to be doing his paranormal show with the lovely Larissa. That's Daphne Do on Twitter. So you can check that out. And tomorrow night and every Friday, I guess until January, is going to be Z Nation on Sci-Fi at 10 Eastern, which would be 9 Central. It's a show we're going to be talking about tonight. You don't want to miss that. Also, if you don't know about it, The Assistant is Dylan's little side project, and I'm a big fan. I can't get enough of it. Check out Dylan's YouTube. He's got 6 episodes up already, and at least one more is going to drop by Monday. And Dylan is actually going to be on the show next week to talk about Z Nation and zombies, and we'll talk to him about The Assistant next Thursday night.
I can honestly say The Assistant is currently my favorite show.
I cannot get enough.
And this is Mike. This is where Mike's going to put the full court press on to get a guest appearance on The Assistant, correct?
So badly. I want that honestly more than anything out of life right now. I would give up so many things to be on The Assistant. I will actually go to Baltimore, which is against my better judgment, just to be in The Assistant.
And that's a long walk for Mike.
That is. I don't drive.
Poor Jen.
I'd like to see Mike as a Dalek. I think that if there's something to be done there, that could be pretty cool.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to tell you what The Assistant is about. I know it's got a lot of Doctor Who references in it, but you know, Dylan could be a Time Lord, or maybe not. And you know, there's a smart car that's parked by his house that might be his TARDIS, or maybe not. We don't know. There's a lot of questions. Dylan's asking a lot of questions, and we're going to get answers soon, I hope.
Yeah,
Well-
recent episodes have cast some suspicion whether that smart car is still in front of his house. It may no longer
Right,
be
which
there.
completely threw me off. I thought that smart car was his TARDIS, and then he said the smart car was gone, but then there's the foreclosure house. Is there someone in there? Is it all in his mind? Is he just being paranoid?
I don't know.
I have to be honest with you, though. The Doctor Who references are what makes it for me, because I have no idea what he's talking about.
I'm right there with you, Mike. But the one thing I really want to see, and
Kind of like
you
this
know,
show. That's the way it works.
well, because I'm the only one that's actually met Dylan in person, and the dude's like 6'5". Okay, and if you've ever seen a smart car is like 4'10". So I would just love to see Dylan squeeze into a smart car, even if he just goes to like a dealership and says, "Hey, let me take one for a test drive," and has his wife, you know, video him doing that. That would be just so awesome, so awesome. So that's about it for the news, except for this is the point where we usually throw it over to Kelly for 2 things. One, for Boo of the Week. You got a boo, Kel?
I do not. I might have, but I don't.
Because you are technologically challenged, you do not have
I'm
one?
a little out of sorts. I do not have sorts, so I am going to have to take a pass on this week for Boo of the Week.
Okay. So, and the last question we have, so we can get this out of the way. There is something over your left shoulder. Yes.
Yeah. Yes, there is, and it's out on Instagram as well, and it's good that Jay's joined us because I mean I don't really tell many people this, Jay, but I won the Piranaconda egg from the movie Piranaconda, and
Wait, that was you?
that was me. I know. It's something I've tried to keep quiet. I don't talk about it much, but I did, and so it has been a regular appearance on the show and dresses up. And in the spirit of our main topic for tonight, the Piranaconda egg is doing a chant that I hope many of us were doing last Friday night, which was zombie baby clap 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 clap. So he's doing the zombie baby cheer because indeed there was a zombie baby and it was glorious.
I hadn't heard about the egg today.
Oh, you haven't heard about the egg today, so
Today.
you've heard about the egg.
A few other days, yeah. Just not today. It's the first reference today, to his
So
credit.
you really are a special friend then, because I've never heard of this egg before. This is completely news to me.
I'm reluctant to bring it up, but I felt forced. That somehow there's a photo of it behind me, and so I have to address it. So.
You should start doing a regular thing with the egg.
Yeah, maybe
That's an
take a
idea.
picture and decorate it up, like for every show, and
Or maybe the egg is the assistant's TARDIS. Yeah.
ooh, wow, well, what?
Crossover.
Plot thickens.
Beyond that. So question, Mr. Technologically Challenged. Can you pull up a chat window from that iPad that you're working off of?
No, I cannot.
Okay, that's cool. That is cool. That answers that question.
So we can say anything we want about Kelly in the chat, and he won't say it.
Got it.
Yeah, but I won't respond. So.
Right. Well, you don't want to give it away. We can't let him know what we're doing.
Okay. That's that. So that's it with the news. We covered everything that needs to get covered. So what are we going to talk about, Mikey?
Well, did you want to get right into Z Nation?
Yeah, sure. Why not? We like zombies here. So when did you watch, Mike?
I did not watch it live. I watched it on demand.
Okay. And so what did you think of?
I think that any zombie show that starts up now, from this point forward, post Walking Dead, is going to be compared to Walking Dead. No matter how different the show is, Z Nation could be set in space, and they could be dolphin humanoid zombies, and it's still going to be compared to Walking Dead. So, I was not at all surprised. I had seen some of the Twitter stuff prior to watching it, and I wasn't at all surprised that people were making the Walking Dead references between the two, or the comparisons between the two.
Okay.
What did you think, though? Did you think those comparisons were fair, personally?
Well, first answer the question. What did you think of it? Did you?
I'm
did
being
you like it?
diplomatic. I'm
Okay.
I'm doing the politician thing. I'm saving it. I'm gonna unveil it because we usually do the number thing.
Okay.
Let's do.
Okay.
Well,
the-
most of
Let's
us,
get a quick.
most of us do the number thing.
Okay. So, maybe we'll throw it over to Jay because Jay is the guest, and we'll ask Jay. And we got about 2 minutes left in this first segment, so maybe we'll start with Jay and break.
Sounds good, guys. So I told Kelly that the first couple of minutes I didn't immediately warm up to it, but then once I saw the running zombies, I was into it. So we kind of had a brief exchange about the running zombies versus the slow lumbering zombies, and I'm a big fan of 28 days, 28 days later, and World War Zombie, World War Z, and I Am Legend Zombie, because that's a bigger threat. That scares me. I feel like no matter how big the herd is and they're slow, it's not a problem. But when you're a rabbit, you're a rabid dog, I don't know, it was a different entertainment value for me. So I got into it once I saw, that they were more of the running sort. It was more of a threat, made it more real. So I agree that the Walking Dead comparisons are going to be inevitable, but I think taken for what it is, I had a good time watching it. I didn't watch it live either, so I got a chance to watch it, I think a couple of days later, but I enjoyed it. It was great. I think it's off to a good start. I'm curious.
Okay, so if you were going to give it a rating in a number of 1 to 10, where the rank of 1 was it's a piece of crap, and 10, you really, really liked it. Now, again, understand, this is the first episode. It was the premiere. So, I mean, there isn't a lot for you to base your opinion on, but what you've seen so far, if you were going to give it a number.
So if I had to give it as a premiere a number, I'd probably go out with something like I'm assuming I can use decimals here, so I'd say like a 7.5, but that's only because it's young. So I think what happens next in the ratings is really open to how the story flows. So for me, 7.5 is a fair start.
I think 7.5 is good. And with that, we have Jay's number in. We'll take a quick break here. This is SnarkAlec Radio on Live 365's Loud and Loaded station, and we'll be right back. And we're back on SnarkAlec Radio on Live 365's Loud and Loaded station. We are here, of course, with our very special guest for tonight, Jay. We have Kelly, who is paying Jay to pretend to be his friend. We have Tony. And I'm here, of course. And we just got Jay's rating for the Z Nation premiere. He gave it a 7.5, and I respect the 0.5. I like that he split it. Tony, what would you go with?
I agree with everything that Jay said. I have a little bit more background than Jay does. It's an asylum project, and it's on Sci-Fi. I knew kind of what to expect, but I was surprised, and I'm going to go right in there with Jay, but I'm not going to give it that 0.5. I'm just going to give it a solid 7 for now. But I can see that there's some potential. This show at this point has a lot more action in it than, okay, let's compare it to Walking Dead. A lot more action than The Walking Dead. I was kind of expecting more of an action type show, and so I wasn't surprised. But yeah, I'm going to give it a solid 7, which is a great rating at this point for a 1, for the first episode. So do we want to go to Mr. Because I'm guessing, Mike, you want to go last?
No, it's up to you. You choose who goes next, whether it's Kelly or myself.
I think we'll go with you, Mike, then.
Okay. Well, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm just going to throw the number out first. On a scale of 1 to 10, I give it VHS. And I'll explain that.
Okay, but wait, hold on. Hold on. Before you explain it, let me explain why it's so funny, because this is a radio show. So Mike gave it, on a scale of 1 to 10, VHS, but then he also just held up a videotape, a VHS videotape, and it was the prop that made me laugh more than anything else. So
that's,
go ahead, Mike.
That's a little something extra for the live viewers so that they know I keep it real. VHS.
Yeah, we pull all the stops out, and we will show you a VHS tape on SnarkAlec Radio. We won't play it, but we'll show you.
You never know what you're going to see. Is Kelly going to get naked? Who knows? Am I going to hold up a VHS tape? Who knows?
We know about one of those, but
I will hold up a VHS tape.
Or Kelly naked in a VHS tape?
See, Kelly could be naked holding 2 VHS tapes. See, I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt there, Kelly.
Yeah, awesome.
Okay,
Jay,
so
you don't want to align with these guys. Trust me, you do not want to align with these guys.
hey, Jay, you're going to find yourself on the enemy of the state list, or the ultra enemy of the state list, if you keep this behavior up, my friend.
And there's no way to fight that. Adrian Peterson couldn't beat his way off of that list.
Back to football.
See, I brought it back around to sports. You guys like sports.
Okay, so you're going to explain your VHS rating?
That's right. We never really did get into the VHS tape. So I gave it a VHS because there was definitely some technical flaws with it, but I'm really just nitpicking. And in the end, just like VHS tapes making their comeback that they have recently for collectors, it just feels right. And I really like the show because it got the feeling of the show right. I could say there's...
So,
sorry, Kelly?
I was going to say, if Mike had really, really liked it, you know what he would have given it? Super 8.
Don't make me go and find my Super 8 camera.
All right. I guess we'll bring it back. That brings it back to Mr. Toole.
So I'm going to go with a 7-point VHS for my rating.
Okay.
I like. I mean, it's tough because I'm pretty much in alignment with what all the three of you have said. It was it was solid. It's the first episode. I'm interested. I want to watch the next episode. I enjoyed it. It didn't drag at all. It was fun. It had a zombie baby. A zombie baby puts it at 7 immediately. So I liked it.
So if we want to step through this a little bit, and then we can talk about some of the comments we've gotten. But it was, I thought one of the things that they did that I kind of liked was at the beginning, if you watched it from the opening credits, they brought you up to speed of where they were at that point. It's been 3 years, this happened, that happened, and then they had, they showed you the scene, with Hammond and Murphy. And I guess they were in a prison, was where those guys were from, where they were doing the testing on those guys that were there. And I like that they, I guess to bring the show up to full speed, they had to do it that way, unlike, the show that everybody's comparing it to, The Walking Dead, where, Rick gets shot and all of a sudden he's in the hospital and, you don't know what happened. I kind of like that.
Yeah, it was either a prison or these guys had horrible fashion sense.
So before we get into the comparisons between that show and Walking Dead, what are some of the things you didn't, since we all seem to more or less enjoyed the show, what are the things, since everyone gave it a high rating, I feel like I gave it the highest with VHS, but everybody gave it a good rating. What are some of the things you didn't like, since there's less of that?
I'll go ahead and start. I think, I mean, and you got to be fair. It's a pilot, so they can't backstory everybody up in that first thing. Takes them a little bit of time. But I just felt like the gun-happy female character just seemed to be kind of like on a rush for us to get to a point of view on her, and it just seemed that some of her stuff seemed a little bit, I don't want to say contrived, but it just seemed like they were trying to push a lot at us about her to say, okay, understand she, was all about shooting things and all that kind of stuff. And so I think they took some shortcuts on some character development on a couple folks, but they were introducing a lot of characters. And so in the matter for the purposes of time, I can't have a quibble with any of the performances. I thought they were all good, but I'm still a little bit blurry on the whole DJ guy. That's the other part that I just haven't entirely pieced together. He's cool. It's kind of interesting, but I don't kind of get what that's all about.
Yeah, I had the same comments about Defiance when it first started, because they tried to throw a lot at us. They had so many different characters. Plus, you also had the different alien races and stuff. A lot at you at the same time. I think they wanted to throw the eighth sacrament at you. You know, the I give you mercy type thing. You know, we got it. That and there was the one scene where they had the trading that was going on between the old man, the girl, and the young guy, and you know, when they got ambushed by the four brothers that were farmers with the overalls. That was the only scene that seemed to me a little bit contrived and I almost want to say racial, because they had the farmer guys in the overalls, and you know, it was just it just seemed too contrived to me, and I can't find the right word, so bleh. But that was the one scene that was like, okay, yeah, we get it. Okay, everybody's a badass, you know.
I forgot to sneak in one last quibble. That was the zombie apple bob. So I didn't get, did the zombies have a pre-meeting to go, okay, I don't know when somebody's going to stop by, but if we all lay here in the water face down, eventually somebody's going to come up and then we'll just scare the hell out of them. That was the only other thing. It's an awesome looking scene. I loved it, but I'm just trying to figure out the zombie pre-meeting to set that up.
Well, that was one of the things people were commenting about the smart zombies, and you know, yeah, how do you work that out? You know, do you do a PowerPoint and get all the zombies sitting here saying, "Brr, brr, 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 brr." But that was pretty awesome, as far as I was concerned. The DJ guy, though, I think, I guess he's up in NORAD or someplace like that, and it was like, you know, like a safe place. And I'd really like to know why the airplane went down. And they were evacuating that safe place that they were at, and he missed the plane, sees the plane take off, and then the plane comes right down. It's like, hey, maybe it was a good thing you missed that plane, you know?
Well, first off, I mean, DJ Qualls is an incredible actor. I feel like we can all agree on that. I'm assuming, of course, we've all seen Hustle and Flow.
Yeah. Don't forget Road Trip.
And Road Trip. Road Trip is excellent. I only used Hustle and Flow because that was a little more current, so I figured that one would hook Tony and Kelly. No?
Thank you, Mike.
Okay. And wait, hold on, guys. Surprise, surprise. Laura Norman says, "You go, Mike. I still have 2 VCRs."
See?
So
Virtual fist bump.
If anybody was going to say they still had a VCR, it would have been Laura Norman to go with her BlackBerry.
I have nothing to say about it.
And John McGivness says, Mike, everybody knows that Z Nation is a Betamax, hands down. Not a.
I mean, that's an excellent rating too. I don't know if I'd make the jump from VHS to Betamax, but I mean, I do feel like we're more or less on the same page. We maybe just have a few different quibbles. And just to throw a couple things out, just to counterpoint a couple things that Kelly and Tony were saying, unlike Kelly, I am all for gun-toting females in my shows. I think that that's awesome, and we need more of that.
I didn't have a problem. I just thought that them bringing up the eighth sacrament, not necessarily her doing the shooting, but the eighth sacrament and I give you mercy.
Right. See, I kind of like that, though, because even though they didn't explain it to you. It gives a little bit of backstory to the characters, or a backstory to the world that is the backdrop of this, which Walking Dead does not have.
Okay.
And that's one of the things for me. I'm sorry, Kelly?
I was going to say, by the way, I think the show has given us a gift, because I don't think there'd be a more appropriate way to end SnarkAlec Radio each week outside of saying, we give you mercy.
That is funny.
I like that. But the whole bobbing for zombies thing, I saw a lot of people complaining about that on Twitter, and I'll share my opinion on that in a minute because Tony's fisting me right now, so I have to take care of that. So you are listening to SnarkAlec Radio on Live 365's Loud and Loaded station, and we'll be back right after this break. And we're back. You're listening to SnarkAlec Radio on Live 365's Loud and Loaded station. See, Kelly, it's super easy to say all that. We're here with Tony, Jay, Kelly, and of course myself. Kelly and Jay are sharing a hotel room right now. Is that accurate?
Bunker.
A bunker. I like it. I like it. Fellow preppers.
So, before we get into comparing this a little bit with Walking Dead, you want me to read some of these comments, because we did open it up on the website for people to give their ratings and leave some comments about the show, and we had a pretty good response. But okay, so pretty much in line with what we've been saying here, the average rating for Z Nation is 6.7 on the website, which is pretty good. We had a couple of people who decided that they were going to not rate it that high, and then other people that rated it very high, which is really cool. We had only one response, and then everything else was a 5 or above, which is pretty high. So the first comment that we got is from Miss Holly Wilson, and she says, "Yep, Mad Hammond died, and the fact that these zombies can plan and execute, derp. Don't like smart zombies, and they can run way too fast and swim. The only leverage we have are guns. Hand-to-hand combat does not seem to go very well."
Is in the slow zombie universe, whether it's Walking Dead or whatever it is, it's not really hand-to-hand combat. Like, I've yet to see the movie where there's fist fights with zombies, although that would be an awesome movie.
Well, if you're comparing that to The Walking Dead, where they can, like, because they are kind of shamblers. But hey, let's get into this myth of the walkers, and I don't want to make it sound like I don't like The Walking Dead. I love The Walking Dead. But go back when they have the marathon, which is going to be coming up. Watch that first season, and those bastards were running. When they were in Atlanta, those zombies were running. Second season on, they're actually walkers. And someone must have said, hey, you call this show The Walking Dead, and those zombies are really fast. Either that, or they got some
sprinting dead.
Yeah, they could have called it The Sprinting Dead, but that's not what the name of the books were. Either that, or instead of getting the higher paid, younger extras to put in the makeup, they got some older folks. And just couldn't.
I like that's your zombie theory. How much they're willing to pay for extras determines whether it's fast or slow zombies. It's not backstory. It's not creative vision. It's, are they willing to pay for the younger people who are going to run?
So
the power Walking Dead.
Yeah, and people, if you don't believe me, go back and see the first season. I mean, they were actually...
You're absolutely right. The speed of the zombies in Walking Dead has been inconsistent the entire lifespan of the show.
Well,
so
okay.
I am not a fan of running zombies as a whole, but that's what they've established on this show from the beginning, and that's fine. Whereas, like, one of my quibbles with Walking Dead, and there really aren't many, I think it's a great show, but one of them is it is very inconsistent. There are some zombies that are clearly, because for me, like if I was going to make a zombie film, how fast and how well the zombies could move would depend on how deteriorated their bodies were. And Walking Dead does not follow that rule. Like going back to season 1, there are zombies that you can basically see through. They're just bones and some skin, and they're sprinting at characters. And then you see new, freshly dead people who are just hobbling along.
Yeah.
So there is no rule in The Walking Dead on how they treat that. So even though I'm not as fond of the fast zombies, I feel like Z Nation has set their rules on how zombies move, and they've stuck to it, at least for one episode.
Yeah, and the word I was looking forward for earlier was stereotypical, because in the first season of The Walking Dead, you had, you know, the guy with the mechanic where, you know, like he had the little name badge sewed onto his coveralls where, you know, you can see Duke, and, you know, they may have had the girl in the cheerleader uniform or partial cheerleader uniform, and so they had people in different walks of life in semi-clean clothes, not like they'd been around for a while. So you had some fresh zombies mixed with some older, really decayed ones, like the one that Rick runs across right at the beginning, where it's just basically like, you know, no legs in the arm. You know, she's dragging herself along. But yes, so go back and watch first season. Comment, Jay?
So I was thinking about Kelly's comment about the bobbing zombies
And how right it was. Is that what you wanted to share?
well, I was wondering. So there's something called swarm intelligence that's kind of related to bird flocking, and then lower order organisms is a theory of some sort of shared intelligence through some sort of communication pattern. Way too technical for zombies. However, wouldn't it be cool if
I feel like you just went way too technical for Kelly, but keep going.
wouldn't it be cool that as they transform as organisms, they kind of inherit that same type of swarm intelligence? And so it's like this shared flocking behavior. It goes more than just herds, but it's intentional behaviors. So that might be, you know, a cool way to go with it. I don't know if that's where this is going, because we've never seen anything like that in the past. Hey, but I want to throw out really quickly the only thing that I had a serious gripe with in the first episode was the jump scare that they tried to go for with Hammond getting down on his hands and knees and looking under the truck for the baby. So that seemed to be a little cheap than they needed to go, but hey, you know, it's zombie fanfare. So
And okay, so that brings up and I had written it down and I skipped over it. So you had this cute little baby in that little car seat, right? And then it dies, and then when it became a zombie, automatically it had adult-sized teeth in its mouth. You know, when it was, and the kid actually smiled
And it
when
can
they were,
walk. It
well,
somehow
no,
learned
it
to
did not
walk by
walk.
becoming a
It
zombie.
flew.
It darted.
Flew. It was zipping around. It was zipping around in there. But yeah, that was something I had written down. I was going to bring up the zombie baby's teeth were actually adult size. And when they had that baby outside and they were carrying it around, a couple times it opened its mouth a little bit. It had little baby teeth in there, you know. So if you want to get a little bit technical, I was like, that threw me off. I was like, look at the size of the teeth on that fake zombie baby puppet, you know. But yeah, that was an inconsistent.
The zombie baby is honestly my biggest quibble with the episode. But getting back to what Jay was saying, I think he's dead on with the bobbing zombies thing. I mean, it's really not that different than when you watch a show like Walking Dead and you see all the walkers piled up against the fence. Even when there's no one near the fence or in the yard, they're in the prison. It's a couple of zombies saw people there. They gathered around. The other zombies start coming to see what's there.
Right.
I mean, so you have one or two zombies around the lake, and not only that, I also just want to throw in too. So I don't know how big a fan you guys are of Nazi zombie movies.
Dead Snow.
No.
It.
Oh yeah, okay. Dead Snow is a recent one. There were some in the 70s and 80s too that had similar plot lines about Nazi zombies and things. There was one called Zombie Lake, which is a very unfairly maligned movie. It is not good, but it is incredibly entertaining. For example, the zombies would make someone a zombie. Their entirety of their zombie makeup is their faces are painted green, like dark Crayola crayon green. And as the title suggests, many of the scenes take place around a lake, and the green makeup is just washing off of them as they're attacking people in the lake. But the filmmakers did not let that stop them. The film just keeps going.
Is this on Netflix?
It may be on Netflix.
I'll have to look at it.
It's easy to find, though. It's not like an obscure film or anything like that. It's
Probably available on VHS.
It is available on VHS. I have a VHS, a DVD copy, and a Blu-ray. It's a classic.
Yeah, so I'm gonna so Jay's, with all due respect to Jay and his swarming theory that Mike has seemed to join in on here, I still
What
think
I was getting at is there were similar zombie attacks in that film, so I feel like this is all, like, if this was the real, like, in a real-world scenario where zombie outbreaks just happen, I feel like there's precedent for it.
My point would be, if they are taking bird swarm-like behaviors, this will be the simplest and shortest zombie series ever, because all they're going to need to do is set up a series of plate glass windows around their camp, and the zombies will fly into them and die.
I want to point out, and I want to see if any of you guys picked up on this. Right at the end, they showed Murphy sitting in the back of the car, and this is the guy that's, the last hope for humankind, and he goes in his mouth and pulls out a tooth. So we've got the core group. They're trying to get across the country. Subplot is right now, who is this girl that was in the cage? We might be finding out about that tomorrow night, who she really is. But longer term, Murphy pulled out that tooth. Is that an indication that maybe he's slow turning, or maybe, he is the cure, but maybe it's not perfect yet? Did you guys pick up on that?
I thought it just showed he wasn't a very good flosser.
What sort of dental coverage do you think is available in a post-apocalyptic zombie hellscape?
I don't know. You'd have to get a zombie dentist.
But no, I took it to mean exactly what you said, that I don't think the cure worked. I think it just slowed it down.
I took it to mean it's going to be just as much as a cure as anything I see advertised on TV today. It may cause tooth loss, arms falling off, sleepless night sweats. Slight side effect.
May want to eat the guy that you're in a hotel room with, stuff like that. Yeah, no, but yeah, bunker. So basically, what Jay is saying is, if you watch any of these drug commercials on TV, half of the times the symptoms that the side effects they're talking about is worse than the disease or the symptoms that you're suffering from. So you might as well not even take the drug. Hey, may cause death. Okay, yeah. Well, I don't want that. I'll suffer with the heartbreak of psoriasis.
I think it's working perfectly, because if all of his teeth fall out and then they give that to all of the zombies, then we got no problem.
Zombie without teeth can't do too much damage.
And there could be a whole business started up with zombie gum jobs. Just saying.
And zombie grills. Some zombie grills would be pretty sweet too.
See?
Okay. So before we take a break, I got a comment from Laura Norman here, and then we'll roundtable that when we get back. Now that they have the core group, it will be interesting to travel across the country with them to see who they cross paths with and how different groups take on the apocalypse. I would have liked Harold Perrineau's character to have lasted longer, but he was an ass. And that, again, was from Laura Norman, purveyor of Blackberries and VHSs.
She would like him to have lasted longer?
Yes.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
She sent that invite. She sent that invite. Jay. Did she send
On
that in
that
by
note,
telegram?
that's where we have to end it. That's where we have to break. That's what she said. We'll be right back with Lasting Longer, Zombie Gum Jobs, and whatever Kelly is going to try and do to Jay in that bunker. Jay, be careful. You're going to wake up in a bathtub filled with ice. All your organs will be there. Kelly's just into weird shit. You're listening to SnarkAlec Radio on Live 365's Loud and Loaded station, and we'll be right back. And welcome back, everyone. You're listening to Live 365's Loud and Loaded station, SnarkAlec Radio, episode 80. We're talking about the premiere episode of Z Nation. Jay has amazing things that he's thrown out there. We're seriously considering replacing Kelly with him.
Please. Please.
So you don't like Kelly. Is it the idea that the zombies have some sort of rudimentary intelligence that you don't like in general, or was it just that particular setup?
No, I think so. Actually, I think Jay made a really good point. I just wanted to get out the whole plate glass window pitch in terms of the bird behavior. So that's my main complaint. But I do think there's a fair point to say less intelligent creatures do certain flocking behaviors. It's just what I don't understand is the whole kind of lying in wait flocking behavior of, hey, we'll just wait in this little lagoon and at some point we'll pop up. But like a recluse spider or something, but
yeah,
no, it was mostly for the plate glass window joke. So I think Jay makes a good point.
Yeah, that's what happened in that lake or lagoon or river was more like an ambush than just a flocking behavior. Where in Walking Dead, they actually had like attractors set up, like attractors, not a tractor that you farm with. But, something that had some kind of motion and made some kind of sound would seem to attract zombies. The governor did it when they were attracting zombies to the pit. And back in Rick's hometown, there was some things like that set up that kind of attracted the zombies into a certain place. So that type of flocking and herd, I kind of understand that. It does seem like they're pointing to some kind of intelligence and maybe some kind of communication or swarm mentality, like Jay was saying. So we'll have to see if they show a little bit more of that coming up.
Now, what are your thoughts in general then on intelligent zombies?
Well, it's not unprecedented. There's been several in what the hell is the name of the movie where they're in Pittsburgh?
The Reagan administration?
No, I think it's the Day of the. Is it the day? It's not the Day of the Dead. It's the one where they're living in this high rise and one of the zombies is I think a mechanic, and he learns how to use like a shovel or something. And at one point,
you're speaking of Land of the Dead.
Land of the Dead. Okay, yeah, that's the one. And at one point, he picks up a gun and he pulls the trigger and shoots it, but he doesn't know how to aim it. But he discovers how he can pick up something, and he picks up a shovel or a pipe or something, and he starts using it. And then all the other zombies, he kind of grunts at them, and they follow him, and they walk across the river and stuff. So it's not the first time we've seen intelligent zombies. Well,
in the Romero films, Land of the Dead is one of the Romero zombie films.
Right.
The arc of those movies, from Night, Dawn, Day, Land, Dire, and Survival, the zombies get more intelligent with each film. So
and is Survival, is that the one? Is that the one where it ends up where they're on an island and then they teach the zombie how to eat a horse?
Yes.
Okay.
One of my favorite zombie movies is this incredibly low-budget movie called Shatterdead. And in that, all of the zombies are as intelligent as they were when they turned. And I know a lot of people didn't like the film because of that, but I thought it was done really well. So I've always... That and the Romero movies, which to me are the best zombie movies, And even though they're not that intelligent, they have sort of a rudimentary intelligence that you watch evolve over each of the films. I've always been open to the idea of slightly more intelligent zombies.
Okay.
Did you guys classify the I Am Legend things as zombies?
No. I didn't. And I saw the movie, and it was kind of boring. 28 Days Later were definitely zombies. But the I Am Legend was a little bit different, I think. And, there's debates about... there's debates about that. The Resident Evil, are those real zombies, or, no, not really, but kind of, but yeah,
Well,
maybe.
Have any of you read the book I Am Legend that the film was based on?
No.
So they're vampires.
Yeah, and I was going to go with mutants as a possibility too, and actually, Night of the Living Dead. When Romero was getting ready to film Night of the Living Dead, his first pitch, when they decided he was doing commercial work, and also doing work with Mr. Rogers, by the way, but he actually filmed Mr. Rogers Has Surgery, which was a nice moment. But the original, he was originally going to do some period piece in Napoleonic time or something, and that couldn't go anywhere. So then he went with Night of the Living Dead, and he based it. The core Romero zombie and structure came from inspirations from I Am Legend.
Okay. That's interesting to know. That's cool.
But in I Am Legend, they are, in fact, vampires. That is not clearly explained in the most recent film, the Will Smith movie, which is the third time it's been made.
Yeah, rumored for a prequel next year.
I really, really, really hated the movie, but it's just because I'm such a big fan of the book, and it loses a lot of the meaning of it is lost in the Will Smith film.
Okay. And congratulations, Jay. Laura has called you a dickweed now. So, for your VHS and comments. So, just welcome to the group.
What VHS comment?
You made some
I
kind
don't even remember him making
Yeah.
it.
Well, VHS and BlackBerry type thing that you may have agreed with or whatever. It was 4 minutes ago, so the timing is a little bit off, but she did call you a dickweed. So, I'm just saying.
Hey, I just want to fit in.
Okay.
That's what he said.
But Laura actually brings up a point that Mike and I were talking about. One of the big differences at this point between Z Nation and The Walking Dead is that The Walking Dead really has no point. Basically they're just surviving, and they're going from one situation
entirely
to the
a
next.
character study. There is basically no overarching plot to it.
Right.
You not read the comics, I don't know how that compares to the comics. In the first season, when they get to the CDC, they give you, a little bit of information, and now in this last season, you have the guy who knows something about it, Dr. Mullet. So they're giving you like 2 little scraps of information in the entire.
Right. So we've got Eugene and we've got Abraham, and he's got the knowledge for the cure, and it seems like that could be working towards something. But the one big difference between Z Nation and The Walking Dead is they're surviving from one bad situation to the next, and in Z Nation, the story is about getting this guy across country. And I guess the nice thing about that is they could get him across country in 13 episodes, possibly, and depending on the ratings, once they get him to California, they could either have a second season or not. But that is a big difference between The Walking Dead at this point and Z Nation, which I like. There is an end game. They are working towards something where, The Walking Dead really, as Mike said, no arcing story. Comment, Jay?
Those quest plots are difficult sometimes. Like I don't know if you guys watched Last Ship
Yes.
this season, but I mean that's basically the same thing. And now I'm wondering where they're going to go. I heard they were picked up for another season, but to the point of what's going on here with Z Nation, they'll just have to be pretty clever to keep folks engaged. Like if they do get them where they're going, then what's the next quest?
Okay, well, I think with the Last Ship, his wife dies, but he's gonna he's got his kids and his father-in-law, his father actually, and I think the next step would be try and getting the cure out to people, and it looks like there's pockets of quasi little governments all over the place, kind of like where they are now. And there'll be different battles along the way, and I'm sure the Russians, there'll be other Russians to come. So that could be pretty good. I like the cast. I like that show. That show was pretty darn good, Jay. So, but yeah, they could do something similar with this.
And hey, I was with the technology challenges. I could be wrong on this, but Tony, could you help me a little bit? So Jay's the only one outside of me that's earned a dickweed tonight. Is that because I know
I got a dickweed. I got a dickweed. And Jay.
So Mike is the only non-dickweed apparently.
That sounds 100% accurate to me.
That's fair enough. I get it.
This is a goal each show, just to be clear.
It is for Kelly.
See, Kelly gets an automatic dickweed. He doesn't even have to open his mouth. It's rare for me to get a dickweed like I did, and then for a guest to get one is ultra.
That's a first, isn't it?
I believe it is.
I gotta say that was misplaced. I don't know if she meant that one for me. Can we confirm that?
He called you out by name.
Laura, if you're still listening, if you can give us some background on why Jay got the honor of a dickweed, let us know. Scott Braveboy says it was okay. The Walking Dead is so superior that it made this look a little cheesy, like a Saturday night sci-fi movie. It's fun to snark, though. I'm gonna disagree with the cheesy part, but okay. So production company is the Asylum, people who brought us Sharknado and Sharknado 2. It's on the Sci-Fi Channel. I wasn't expecting something where there was going to be Emmy Award nominations or whatever. I kind of got what I thought we were going to get.
I have to be honest with you, it was a little bit better than what I was expecting. I thought it was going to be played campier than it was, and they played it straight, which was kind of refreshing because the Asylum movies that I've seen Asylum movies that were serious, but most of the ones I've seen that they did for Sci-Fi Channel had that sort of campy, over-the-top feel to it. Now, I understand what he's saying, though. I feel like the visual aesthetic in the shows is completely different, though. Where Walking Dead goes for that gritty, realistic kind of look to everything, this is very stylized. And in that regard, you almost can't compare the two.
So up to this point, every other comment, or just about every comment from here on out, mentions the zombie baby in some way, shape, or form. So this is from Mike's side piece, Helena. She would have rated it a 10, except she couldn't bring herself to put it in the same category as Big-Ass Spider. Understandable. Big-Ass Spider was a great movie. Her favorite was Zombaby. Of course. What else? We need to get my fake boyfriend a Zombaby head. So, Mike, you've got a Judith head there.
I do, of course.
So you need a zombie baby head now. And the least favorite thing, according to Helena, was the demise of Hammond. Why? Although I'm thinking Asylum just couldn't pay his salary for a whole series.
Yeah.
And did you guys pick up what our good friend Gerald Webb did to us again, because just like with Zombie Apocalypse, or it was similar to Zombie Apocalypse, where Gerald was talking it up, sure and watch it, I'm in it, and blah blah blah, go go go, and then in the first 5 minutes he's gone. I think there may have been a little bit of intentionalness that he was throwing major praise Harold's way through most of that show, right up till the end. So I think he was doing a little bit of the same to us again on getting us all excited about somebody and then snatching them away.
I did not pick up on the GW praise, but hey, I don't read anybody else's tweets when I'm tweeting a show, so.
He did talk up his involvement, but I don't know if that was intended as misdirection or just the excitement of working with him as an actor.
And
either way, though, I mean, he was great, and I think that Tony's 100% right. I'm sure salary was an issue with keeping him on long-term on the show.
And just to give Jay a little bit of background on Mr. Webb, he actually did the casting. He works at the asylum. He's an actor and does a whole bunch of stuff, has his own company, but he did casting for Sharknado, Sharknado 2, and for a whole bunch of other asylum projects. So.
And why don't we take a quick break here? You are listening to SnarkAlec Radio on Live 365's Loud and Loaded station, and we'll be right back. Kelly, put your pants back on. You're listening to SnarkAlec Radio on Live 365's Loud and Loaded station. You are here, of course, with Tony, Kelly, and our very special guest tonight, Jay.
Those pants never left his ankles.
Okay.
That doesn't help. You're not helping. Not helping.
Okay. So from I'm gonna blast through a couple of these guys. From Michelle McKeeve, the zombie baby was awesome, but they didn't have to kill Hammond. Overall, I thought it was good. Myrna says, I love the zombie baby and the big hole the person on the roof put on a zombie. So there was that sniper guy who's also someone that was introduced. Okay, yeah, Jay got it for commenting on my Z Nation comment and about Harold staying in longer. That's what she said. Yes, so I guess it was the "that's what she said" comment at the end of that. He should have lasted longer.
She's right on point. I'll give it to her.
Amy Glitters says the zombie baby seemed to steal the show. Hammond died too soon, in my opinion. Maybe he will come back. It is a zombie show after all.
I love zombie babies, but I didn't like the baby's newfound superpowers after being bit by the zombie. I think that zombie babies are very effective, and in numerous films, especially, I don't know if you guys ever saw the movie Grace.
Nope.
It was done extremely well in that film, and I just didn't. I thought the zombie baby could have been even more than what it was if they didn't go so over the top with the baby basically flying, like Tony pointed out.
Got a good one coming up here. Kel, you going to say something?
I was just going to say, didn't Full House, didn't those two girls turn into zombies too?
Right? No, I think you were...
They got like all skinny and stuff? No. Oh, my bad. Never mind.
Okay. This is from Dylan, who seemed to be really not thoroughly impressed, but he usually takes... it takes some time before Dylan warms up to something like this. But what Dylan says is, and he brought this up, and we didn't talk about it yet. It was just okay for me. I like the idea of someone surviving a zombie bite, but it seems like every other zombie show movie to him. So Zombie Baby was pretty cool. So were Zombie Kids on the school bus. Also kind of pissed that Hammond died. I liked him, which brings up another big point and a big difference between this movie, this show, and The Walking Dead, where you never see zombie kids. There was, and it seemed like when the bus went by, the kids were okay. And then all of a sudden everybody on the bus was a zombie. But Walking Dead, they never show zombie kids except for first season, right? And then Sophia were the only two kid zombies that I think they show. Other than that, everybody else is, oh, let's say, an adult. Okay, and Kel, I saw you holding up two fingers. So
that was
the
the two you mentioned. There were
Yeah.
just those two. Although, wouldn't it be? You remember, how have you ever seen where they have the toddlers all kind of hanging onto a rope when the folks are taking them from teachers taking them from one place to another? That would be so awesome if there was all of them were zombies on a rope. But that's just me.
Okay.
I'd like to see that.
I think it wouldn't be so far-fetched that zombies attack the school, and you could have big herds of kids as zombies, and I don't know if anybody on the Walking Dead side has ever made a conscious, they said that they've made that decision and ever spoken about it, but that makes, not that, hey, it's the zombie apocalypse, it's a story. I know it's not realistic, but if this was something like the swine flu, you'd see people across the world in every walk of life and in every age group get affected by it, and you don't see it in The Walking Dead. But it seems like they don't have a problem showing it here. And they didn't show the baby getting killed, which is a big no-no. And actually, the two girls in last season, we never saw them get killed, and we never saw them turn, because they don't show kids getting killed. It's a no-no.
There was, for a long time, I produced low-budget horror films, and for a long time distributors had this sort of unofficial rule. It wasn't written anywhere, but they would certainly tell you if they liked your film, but it had this issue with it, where a lot of distributors, you couldn't show a child being killed or an animal being killed. You could have dead animals and dead kids, you just couldn't show them being killed.
Okay. Any comment about the kids there, Jay?
No, I think you nailed it. You and Mike nailed it. It's probably just more risk than reward. I don't think you gain a whole lot more by showing. I don't think the networks will think they'll gain a lot more by showing that. So you probably won't. You won't see that, or kittens either, I guess.
Yeah, nobody wants to see a dead kid. So we only have a couple more comments. Everybody else just voted. So this is from John McGivna, Mike's side piece's husband. Hands down, it has to be Zombie Baby. He is the kid we always wanted but never got. I always liked Harold Perrineau and his interpretation of how you do a Gerald Webb death scene. My least favorite scene was also the death of Harold. Kind of hoped he would be part of the series, but then I thought Doreen would be a player on Helix. Shows you how much I know. Next is from MJ Khan. In 28 Days Later, the Fast Zombies worked. Here, it was almost too chaotic, and the zombie baby just didn't work for me. What was it biting Hammond with? And how did it go from stuck in a car seat to moving like an Olympic sprinter? Okay, so we did cover that, and yeah, and we talked about the zombie baby's teeth here. So this is from. Does anybody know who Shadow and Light is? Don't know. But comment is favorites here, baby, baby, baby. Come to daddy. The humor. Excellent looking zombies that can move really fast at times. They were not afraid to kill off a major actor in the first episode. Fast paced. And the lines needed a tiny bit of work. The acting was stilted at times. That should clear up once the series continues. So that was that one.
I really think that, like I said from the beginning, I really think I agree 100% with Tony that they got rid of him because of budget concerns. But that person who made that comment brought up a good point too. You know, they killed him at the very end of the episode, so they do kind of string you along, making you think he's going to be a major character in this show, and then kill him at the very end of the episode. So I thought that was a great way to handle it.
Right.
Because it does set you a little bit off balance if you thought he was going to be the star of the show, thought, okay, this is the character. I don't know if you guys ever saw, there's a horror movie called Feast.
Have not.
And Kelly, you have? Or you didn't?
Yeah, that was at the Feast. That's the one that the guy did the contest. They had the Affleck and whoever else.
Yeah, that movie.
Yeah.
So you did see that. So in the beginning, when they show the characters, like the hero character, and then there's the little commentary that flashes across the bottom, like, there's no way he could die, and then he gets killed 2 minutes later, and then the kid, and they're like, there's no way they'd kill a kid, and the kid gets killed. I kind of felt it was like that, sort of throwing it. I mean, it was obviously a budgetary thing, but they did it in a way where it kind of throws the audience off balance, because you're already set, like, okay, he's in charge, he's the guy who's going to lead them across the country, and then they kill him. Because I do think that one of the strengths of Walking Dead is that any character could die. So I think that killing off the heroic character in the first episode, even though it was obviously a budgetary thing, they did it the best way that they could.
Yeah. Well, Mike, I kind of disagree with you, because I think The Walking Dead is kind of Rick's story. That's kind of the way it's framed. And I might be wrong, but
unfortunately, I feel, and I don't read the books, my worry is that The Walking Dead is really Carl's story.
It may well be, but it's got to be either Carl and Rick's, and it could be both of their stories. But I think the story ends if Rick dies, because, I mean, it began with Rick. But I think Jay was going to say something.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any way you can know this for certain, but if you go to IMDb and you look at some of the shows, they'll kind of give you the series cast, and it kind of shows how many episodes they appear in. So you could be looking at possibly whether somebody's just not written yet into something, but if you look at, like, the guy who plays Doc, shows he's like in there for 12 full episodes. I won't give you the rest because I don't know if this might be spoiler material or not, but for example, it's got our guy who died in the first episode. Everybody who died in the first episode is listed as one episode.
Okay.
You got some folks with 5 episodes, so I don't know what that means, but it might be a little insightful in terms of at least who you might see again.
Well, I'm just wondering whether or not they also take into account, because I'm guessing there's a possibility that there can be some flashbacks to certain things. So I'm wondering if they take that into account also. But having said that, I stay away from those type of things, Jay, because I don't want anything to get spoiled for me. Like, one of the big problems I have about this show being compared to The Walking Dead, and I don't have a problem. Hey, at this point, I will tell you, I think The Walking Dead, after 4 seasons, and some great acting and some great stories, I will say The Walking Dead is a better show. But at the same time, I could say I love zombies, and I like this show too. I like it as much, and I hope it, delivers with the action that we don't necessarily get all the time with The Walking Dead. But one of the things that happened last Friday was I had gone out and I had read some reviews. Now, the reviews get published Thursday, Friday, before the show actually comes on, because these guys get to see the first episode or the first couple episodes beforehand. And there was somebody that tweeted something out which was actually word for word the first sentence of a review that somebody else had written where they did not like it. And I called that person out on it. And I was like, you can't say that after the first 10 minutes. You know, and this person got all defensive that they got called out for, you know, putting, oh, this is crap. It's not The Walking Dead. No, because if it was The fucking Walking Dead, the title of the show would be The Walking Dead. It's Z Nation. So no, it's not The Walking Dead.
Just to touch on Jay's thing really quick, he's 100% right. If you want to spoil TV shows for yourself, go on IMDb and find out who's going to die. The only thing to watch out for, though, is sometimes the information on there isn't correct. Because I don't know if you guys know this or not. Anyone can edit IMDb. That is not like an official site affiliated with any studios or anything like that. Anyone can go and edit that. So right. I suggest you do so. It's like Wikipedia, but just for movies.
Listen, that's why I don't go to IMDb. I get all of my news and all of my facts, everything, I get it from the Wikipedia because it's on the internet and it must be right.
Everything on the internet is true, but IMDb is way better
it's
than
a little
Wikipedia.
Bit shady. It's a little bit shady that
their checks and balances are a lot better than Wikipedia. I'll say that much. Are we taking a quick break here?
Yeah.
Okay. You are listening to SnarkAlec Radio. We have our very special guest tonight, Jay, who's giving us great insight. It's amazing that he's a friend with Kelly, who, of course, is with us as always. We have Tony, and we will be right back with more Z Nation / Walking Dead talk. And we're back. You're listening to SnarkAlec Radio on Live 365's Loud and Loaded station. We're here with Jay, Kelly, and Tony. And we were comparing and contrasting Z Nation and Walking Dead.
We were also comparing and contrasting Jay and Kelly a little bit more than I'd like.
So overall, I mean, I think from what we've all been saying, I think we're all kind of on the same boat here. I want to see what's coming up with Z Nation. Definitely saw enough more to like than to dislike in the first episode that we're definitely going to continue to watch. I think everybody here is in agreement that, hey, it is different. You know, it's almost a polar opposite show kind of from The Walking Dead. As you know, it seems more of an action, fast-paced show where, you know, The Walking Dead has its fits and its starts. Would it be safe to say that we're all on the same page about that? That, you know, everybody kind of likes Walking Dead better?
Yeah, I definitely like Walking Dead a little bit more, but this is one episode versus 4 seasons. And I think for one episode, the show is really good, and I'm going to continue to watch it. And I think the most important thing to take away from the first episode of this show is that any zombie show, like we said earlier, is going to be compared to Walking Dead. And in one episode, it managed to distance itself and create its own unique identity from a show that's been around for 4 years.
Right, and the only thing that kind of concerns me, and I'm wondering if they're gonna, because if this happens, then all bets are off. But,
frontal male nudity.
No, actually, that would just make it, you know, better.
Always does.
But this is not the first time we've seen a zombie baby from the asylum, because we had Rise of the Zombies, and that's the movie that came out with the zombie baby Stomp. But in Zombie Apocalypse, which is the movie that everybody's referencing as far as Joe Webb, you know, dying while the words are still up on the screen, you know, in the opening credits. In that, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, because it seems like you've seen a couple more movies than I have. That's the only zombie movie I've seen where they had zombie animals.
The Resident Evil movies had zombie animals, and there was a short-lived, it only lasted 1 season show on FearNet, which the channel doesn't even exist anymore. That was, I can't remember the name of the show, but it was entirely about zombie animals.
So that brings up a point. a little bit a while ago, you guys were talking about zombies versus mutants and vampires. Is there some agreed definition of a zombie?
Well, I think the Resident Evils are and I think Kelly is the one who used the mutant um, tag, and I think Resident Evil would be more of a mutant than a zombie, and I think and this brings up another point too, Jay. Um, Zombies are dead that come back to life in some way, shape, or form. Um, and a zombie bite will turn you into a zombie. Now, and here goes something that we have to look for, and haven't seen it yet in Z Nation. But one of the other, we were talking about inconsistencies earlier. There have been several times when, depending on what the show needed, when people died, that there are varying lengths of time between the time that they die and they reanimate and come back. And in certain circumstances, it could be very short, like Shane, who basically came back instantly, to hours and hours and hours, and in some cases, it seemed like days. I think when Andrea's sister died, that seemed like she died, and it took a while before
And
she
to me,
reanimated.
that goes to, like we said before, The Walking Dead really doesn't have established rules.
Well, I think, and I might be wrong about this, and I'm sure if I am wrong, somebody will correct me, but at one point when they're talking to the doctor in the CDC, I think he did mention that reanimation times were from 5 minutes to 12 hours or something like that, and but by putting that out there, and the time frame may have been longer, but it seemed that however long it suited the show, like in the case of Andrea, how long that it was going to take, when Andrea was bitten by the zombie. What was his name? Milton. The time that it took for him to die and become a zombie was quite short, because that's what they needed. When it was Shane, it was short because that's what they needed, at that point. So, these are inconsistencies in The Walking Dead. It's not a perfect show either. And
That's a pretty thin line between the being dead and reanimated. Sounds very close to the vampire route.
I agree.
Yeah, but I think so for zombie rules for me is that it is you're down, out, dead, flat, dead, you reanimate, you come back to life. You want to eat humans one way or another, flesh or brains, preference towards brains, and your enunciation challenged to some degree. You don't communicate at all, or you communicate poorly. Those would be the big three for me: is lack of communication skills, human in the diet, and reanimation. But it's a fair point to say, okay, so what's the vampire distinction?
Yeah.
Pointy teeth.
Clinically dead, and the vampires don't eat the flesh; they drink the blood. Big difference.
They're still dead though, and they come back. I mean, to me, the difference would be that vampires come back with their original personality intact.
Yeah. Well, and they're intelligent, but now let's take classic vampire rules. Okay, vampires not allowed out at during the daytime. So like Vampire Diaries and these other shows that are out now. The sparkly vampires, the Twilight series. Those aren't real vampires. We're talking about Count Dracula. You can't go out, can transform into an animal. Like Underwood and Flinch is a classic, that podcast, classic vampire. Not allowed out during the daytime. No sunlight.
Can't get a library card. Can't
But
use
yeah,
the carpool lane.
but so there is a similarity there, Jay, between the vampire and the zombie, but there are big differences too. Like a zombie bite will infect you, and it will eventually kill you, and then you'll come back as a zombie, and you'll want to eat people. Where a vampire bite, depending on where you read, like there's a bunch of things that have to happen before you can become a vampire. You have to drink the vampire blood, like you have to be turned into one, and you have the intelligence and what have you. So,
By the way, you might want to quickly trademark that. You heard what you said? Zampire. That might be worth something.
well, actually, people have been using that to talk about the strain. Have you been watching the strain, Jay?
I have been watching The Strain. That was
Okay.
exactly what I was thinking about when we started down the zombie road. I mean, the vampire road.
So, what the hell is going on there? I mean, a lot of people are calling them vampires, but it's a parasitic thing that's happening with the worms. Love the show; it's great. I mean, first couple of episodes a little bit slow, but once that thing started going, kicking ass. But we're not here to talk about vampires or vampires.
Just to throw in really quick, I thought of 2 more zombie animal films. Pet Cemetery and Return of the Living Dead.
Okay, so Pet Cemetery is not zombies, even though they are reanimated pets.
They're still zombies. Wait, how is
And-
Pet Cemetery not zombies?
Well, because isn't it like a voodoo curse or something that brings them back, or they're in the Indian cemetery or whatever.
Racist.
The original zombies were voodoo anyway.
Right.
And Madagascar 3, another one with zombie animals.
Okay.
I hope that's real.
It would be. I wish.
So if you're looking for, big difference though, Walking Dead kind of has a similarity almost between like Dawn of the Dead, because those people in Dawn of the Dead, the original one, people just came up out of the ground, So dead people reanimated for no good reason. In The Walking Dead, though, that what we found out in the CDC is everybody's infected. So when you die, and here goes a big problem with The Walking Dead. When you die, you will come back as a zombie. So no matter how safe the sanctuary you're in right now is, if you go to sleep at night and there's somebody in the bed next to you and they have a heart attack and die, they can come back as a zombie and get you before you have a chance to defend yourself. And if you're inside the wall somewhere or inside a prison and you're sharing a little cell with your wifey, okay, unless that door is locked, hubby dies, has a heart attack in the middle of the night, comes back in 5 minutes.
He might be eating her.
Right, and then so now that's it. Your security is compromised. So big flaw in The Walking Dead there, people.
I like that though, because I feel like it sets up a world where everyone is your potential enemy then.
Right, but they will never find that safe place because, as an example, this year in last season in the prison when everybody got the flu bug thing that everybody was getting, it happened. People started changing and turning 3 and 4 at a time, and this is inside where it's supposed to be safe. So
Everyone is the danger.
yes, everybody is a potential.
There you go.
Everybody's.
But Mike, let me assure you, Mike, that living in a world where everybody's a potential, speaking from personal experience, living in a world where everybody's a potential enemy is not all that fun.
Yes, hence the enemy of the state list.
Aw, you need a hug. Jay, hug him.
Negatory.
It's a no hug zone.
The hug-free bunker.
He must
We
be in an
insist
Archie
there.
bunker.
Oh, goodness. There's
I
Boo
could
of
have got
the
a boo
Week.
for that.
There you go, Tony. We'll give you. We didn't have to end the show without a Boo of the Week. You just served one
Okay.
up. Congratulations.
Are we done talking about zombies? I haven't gotten any questions on Twitter, and I did not start up the Q&A tonight. So, it seems to make things a little bit better if there's no Q&A. Do we want to do a quick? Yeah. Do we want to do your quick game, or can we not do that because you're technologically challenged?
No, I mean we could do it. I mean we're going to run a little long here, but I'd be happy to do it. Maybe what I'll do is we'll do maybe a short version of it. It'll be I've got about 17 questions. We'll do 5. We'll just see how we do here. You want to do that?
That's fine.
Give me 1 second.
Games are always good. I hope people enjoyed our little zombie talk, but I think, Mike, you want to take us out, and then when we come back, we can...
Is it that time to take another break already?
Yeah, 10:45.
Okay. You are listening to SnarkAlec Radio on Live 365's Loud and Loaded station, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. You're listening to SnarkAlec Radio on Live 365's Loud and Loaded station. You have Tony, Jay, and Kelly is about to regale us with his new game.
Yes, indeed. And it was, since we knew it was going to be kind of a undead zombie kind of thing, I kind of went with some questions on that.
Good touch, bad touch.
Veins. Not quite that. No, this is the word longer is involved. That might get you excited, Mike. I don't know.
Nice.
But what it's going to be is I'm going to give you 2 things that basically involve death of one place or another, and you need to tell me which of the 2 is longer. Okay? So I'll give you the first question. We'll rotate around. Jay's the guest. We'll do Jay, Mike, Tony as the rotation. You'll each give me your answers. We'll score the points. We'll do 5 questions. I have more, so this will be a game that we can return to again. So, for example, which lasts longer? A decapitated female fruit fly, or the movie The English Patient, where the patient dies at the end, and you wish you were dead if you were watching it. So which lasts longer, a decapitated female fruit fly, or the movie The English Patient? Jay?
I'm going to go with the fruit fly.
Okay.
I'm going to have to go with the fly as well, even though I'm not knowledgeable particularly of fruit flies. I know that there are insects that can live without their head for an extended period of time.
This is a tough one, Kelly, because from your description of The English Patient, even if that movie was only a half an hour long, it sounds like it made it feel like it was a hell of a lot longer of a time. However, a fruit fly probably lasts longer than that movie. I don't know how long that movie is. I'd like to go different, but I'm going to go with the fruit fly. I'm going to go with the gang.
Okay. So we'll score as we go. You all have 1 point. You're all correct. The decapitated female fruit fly can last for several days after they've been decapitated, where the English Patient clocks in at a mere 162 minutes, or that's 2 hours and 42 minutes of watching this boring guy die. Okay, question number 2. Which lasts longer? Which is longer? The average time served for murder or manslaughter in Florida in the years 1989 and 90, or Franklin Delano Roosevelt's presidential terms. So which was longer? The average time people served for murder or manslaughter in Florida in 1989 and 90, when those stats were provided, or FDR's length as president?
That's a tricky one.
Start with Mike. Let's start with Mike on this one.
Okay, I'm going to have to go with FDR.
That's easy, FDR.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Florida only because you were so specific on the years.
Oh, shucks. Well, Jay, you're down one. Mike and Tony were right, but Tony, it really shouldn't have been as easy as you thought because the difference was 2 months. The average amount of time for murder and manslaughter in Florida was 11 years in 1989 and 1990, where FDR's term was 12 years. So,
Well, yeah. Well, I was going based on. I was going up. I was going based on. I was thinking that average time was probably going to come out to 10 years, and I know FDR served 12. So I didn't think it was going to come down to months.
Okay, it was close. It was close. Okay, Tony, we'll start off with you on this one. Which is longer? Someone jumps off the Empire State Building, the amount of time it takes them to fall and hit the ground, or the typical length of the first volts of electricity you put through someone you're executing?
Ooh. Okay, wait, I don't understand. Okay, so what takes longer? The
you're
fall
on the,
from the top of the Empire State?
Yep. You jump. Okay. Mike pushes you off the Empire State Building. How long would it take you to fall versus how long will Mike's first jolt in the electric chair be for pushing you off which is longer?
Okay, it takes longer to fry somebody than it does to fall off the Empire State Building. So I'm going to say fry, baby, fry. The first volt, though? Not the in total?
The first, I want to clarify here, is that what they'll do, procedures for electrocution, is they will do it multiple times until the individual dies. They do it for a set period of time for the first one. They check for death. They're not there. They hit them again. They're not dead. They hit them again. So this is just the first iteration of electricity.
Okay.
By the way, I just want to break some news to all the ladies out there. I'm going to be on the market here shortly because as soon as my wife goes into the browser and looks at the search history, she's going to start seeing how long does it take to bury a body? How long do things take to decompose? So there's a lot of interesting searches I did for this. So
and guys too. Hey, Kelly's going to be on the market.
Yeah. I'm less worried about that.
Okay.
So
it takes longer for you to jump out of the Empire State Building. Let's get that straight. Longer to jump or get pushed off to hit the ground from the Empire State Building.
You're saying the Empire State Building?
Yeah.
Okay. Mike? Or is it no wait? Jay.
I'm going to go with the electricity.
Okay.
This one is really a tough one, but I think I'm going to have to go with electricity.
Okay.
Okay, and you're both wrong, and I'm the only one that's right.
No, you're wrong. 8.8 seconds for the Empire State Building drop. 30 seconds is the typical time they do the first jolt of electricity.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about travel time of the electricity through the body.
Oh.
That's what I was trying to clarify.
Okay. Well, so I'm sorry. We may throw that question out. We'll see how it goes here. Okay. Next one. And where am I at? We're back to Jay, I believe. Which would take longer? 300 to 500 piranhas stripping all the flesh off a 180-pound human, or the original studio recording of Freebird. So would it which is last longer? 300 to 500 piranhas cleaning off all the flesh off the bones of a 180-pound human, or the original studio recording of Freebird?
I'm going to go with even though I've played Freebird lots of times on Guitar Hero, so I'm pretty familiar with the length because I usually get the finger cramps. I want to go with the piranhas take longer.
Okay.
Me?
Mike?
I'm going to go with Freebird.
Okay.
Freebird, yeah.
Okay. And this was the studio recording of Freebird. I made that clear. Because the studio recording of Freebird is 4 minutes.
Oh, boo.
Well, no, you're good. Because Jay, according to Ray Osaric, the assistant curator of fishes at the National Aquarium of Baltimore, it would probably take 300 to 500 piranhas 5 minutes to strip the flesh off a 180-pound human.
Okay, but he's never tested this. He's never tested this, and he is from Baltimore, right?
Wait. So I just looked up Freebird. The album version of Freebird, not the full-length demo version, is 9 minutes and 6 seconds.
Right, the album version that they
I
released.
forgot the other clarifier is whatever my first search showed up is what I used. So okay, I got to throw that question. Out. So this is a winner-take-all final question.
I was gonna say I never got hand cramp after just 4 minutes.
Yeah, really.
All right. No.
The full version of the song.
Wait, we could go so many places with that
The
one.
full version is 11 minutes and 9 seconds, and I have to think of some pretty dark things to last that long. So, Kelly?
Anyway, so we're going to throw that question out, and we're going to go to the final question here. I'm back to some confident, solid numbers where we. So, Mike, are you like Googling while we're doing this, or just to clarify? I want to clarify where the Googling's occurring.
The Googling came after the question because I knew the song was longer than
Okay.
4 minutes long.
Longer than that. Okay, fair enough. I forgot disclaimer at the beginning. I found it on the internet. It had to be true, and I went with my first search. So, so some of these numbers could be a little suspect. But we'll do the last one here. Winner take all. So you could have multiple winners if you all decide to pick the same thing. Which is longer? The lifespan of a queen domestic bee, or the average time on death row prior to execution in Texas? So which lasts longer? How long does it? Which is longer? The life of a queen bee, of domesticated bees, or the average amount of time on death row in Texas? In Texas. So
In Texas, clarify. In Texas.
In Texas.
And
The other one, the manslaughter murder, that was Florida. I moved to Texas for the time on death row. And I believe, Tony, you get to lead us off here for the final one.
Okay, and I'm going to change. I just want to point this out. I'm going to change my rating for Z Nation to Windows 95.
I feel like that's a major downgrade.
No, it's not. I'm just kidding. I'm going to leave it up where it was. This is a tough one, dude, because I know they don't last long in death row in Texas, and I know queen bees last pretty long. I'm going to go with the queen bee.
Okay.
Final answer.
Final answer. Jay. Mike, don't Google.
I'm going to go with the queen bee only because you said domesticated. I'm trying to pay attention here.
Okay. Mike?
What were the living conditions of the queen bee?
Temperate zone, middle Midwest.
Three cots and a hot. I mean, 3 hots and a cot.
Lilac fields within 2 miles.
I'm going to have to go with the queen bee then. Under those circumstances,
Okay.
I'm going with the queen bee.
Okay, so everybody loses because the answer is death row in Texas. The domestic queen bee typical lifespan will be 3 years with a 5-year maximum, and the average time on death row prior to execution in Texas is actually 10.74 years.
Wow.
Is it really?
They let them last that
not
fucking
earn
long?
their reputation then.
Yep.
I thought it was like they just walked you out of the courthouse to the dumpster. Just kind of did it there and got it over with.
Actually,
my
I
research indicated otherwise.
I heard that they just put you in a steel-clad coffin and they friggin' electrocuted you in the coffin, so they didn't have to, waste any time getting you in the ground once they were done frying you. Wow, that was a pretty good game, Kel. Although, you shouldn't be using IMDb for your fact.
Yeah. Well, I just as these searches started piling up in the search engine, I was like, I'm gonna just go with the first one here because it's when you type in one letter up in the browser window and amount of time to bleed out is the search string. It's not a good deal.
So I think we're done, guys. Are we done?
That's right.
Is that it then?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
And I think, and we sign us off the new way, Tony.
Well, hell, hold on. We've got a couple of things to cover. We want to thank Jay for coming in.
Yeah, thank you
It was
guys.
awesome. And we will, once we get underway with The Walking Dead and we're further into the Z Nation, we'll have you back in, and then we'll be able to compare notes from then. And actually love to have you in before The Walking Dead, too, so we could just talk about The Walking Dead. And are you reading the books, Jay, or are you just watching the show?
I've just been watching the show, but next time you have me, I won't be in the bunker.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great. You know, don't want you in a bunker. But yeah, it was great having you, and you know, love to talk Walking Dead with you. And like I said, once that thing really gets rolling, and we can, you know, we can. Now we're in 45 minutes, and we talked about zombies. Great, love it. Next week, we'll have a little bit more Z Nation. Dylan from Dylan Knows is going to be on. Don't forget, he's on Saturday night at 9 o'clock. Too late for you guys that are listening on the Loud and Loaded channel. But, you know, you'll be able to see his show on Sunday if you want to. The Assistant, he's going to drop at least one new episode by Monday. Go to Dylan's YouTube channel and check out The Assistant episodes.
Do we know how long the first season of that is running?
I don't know how many episodes. Right now, he's got 6 episodes up, and they're about maximum is like 5 minutes, I think, but they're about 3 minutes apiece. So, I mean, in 15 minutes or so, 20 minutes, you can watch the 6 episodes that are up there right now. It's awesome. So check that out.
I don't see how he can continue to weave the vast tapestry of intrigue that The Assistant is in less than 47 episodes, I think. But
it's so specific, 47 episodes.
And I was going to mention this at the beginning of the show, but if I didn't, Dylan just passed his 1-year anniversary. He's got 52 shows under his belt. So congratulations to Dylan on hitting that you know, low water mark of doing this crap for a year. You know, and when I say that, I mean that, you know, in all honesty, because we do the same thing and we've been doing it longer. So congratulations to Dylan. Hey, Nurture and Support, Kelly does a podcast with Melissa. Check that out. Bring Out Your Geek. Check it out. Dylan Knows we already talked about. Our website, Google SnarkAlec. If you want to send us an email, SnarkAlecRadio@gmail.com. You can hit that up. And don't forget Z Nation tomorrow night, every Friday night, 10 o'clock on Sci-Fi. And anything else? Ooh, next week is Vex coming on, Mike?
Yes, he is.
Okay, so we'll have Vex from Starscream on also. And that's about it. So, and Kel, what's the new way of taking us out?
Grabbing your crotch and staring directly into the camera like a Phillies player?
No.
The proper way to end SnarkAlec Radio from now into the future will be, we give you mercy.